So what everybody says to me, right? What everybody says to me is that why would I use you? You're a middleman. It's going to cost me more.
Correct. Yeah. I was just about to ask that question.
I know you were.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
So why not use Ray the car guy?
Right.
There you go. Done. There you go. Well, hey man, this has been great. Like you're what we hope for more. We hope more people write in and call us out, and we're able to bring them on as a professional, as an expert, because this just gave us all kinds of credibility, I hope.
It really lets people behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to go. We all have to buy cars or lease them. Right. Excuse me.
Or whatever.
I know, but that's...
I do both.
Welcome, everybody, to Born Broke. And today we have a very, very special guest, Ray Shargel, and the host over here, Mr. Mike Hoforth. Take it away, bro.
Dude, you get more professional every time we do this.
Well, we're just trying to be professional.
I like it. Ray, thanks for being here. I'm
Anytime.
Really excited.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Just for our viewers, I'm going to say, we released an episode. If you didn't watch it, you need to go back and watch it. And it was called Buying versus Leasing, or Buying and Leasing, or Leasing a Car, okay? So Ray here had left us a comment after seeing that episode and said, you should have had me on because that's what I do for a living. So we have a professional in the house to tell us the difference between buying and leasing a car, and probably where we messed up in our episode, but hopefully we didn't. So Ray, thanks for being here, man.
Anytime.
Yeah, cool.
Very excited.
Cool. Well, you're an avid watcher. I want to thank you for that as well, which is awesome. Let's start from the beginning, I guess. I know that the car thing is probably what we're going to talk about the most, but give us a little history. Like, where did you grow up? You know, what was family life like back then?
So, born and raised in L.A., born in West Hollywood. We lived on Crescent Heights when I was born. Cedars of Lebanon Hospital. That's now Cedars-Sinai. That's how old I am. And anybody who's older and watching this would know. And then when I was like 1 or something, we moved to Woodland Hills. Okay. Grew up in Woodland Hills, went to elementary school, middle school, high school, Taft High School, right on Winnetka and Ventura. If you're familiar. Mm-hmm. Interesting sort of childhood. And I don't think about it in a negative way or anything, but my mom died when I was 12 of cancer.
Sorry about that.
No problem. And my dad died subsequently when I was 18.
Oh, wow.
When I was my freshman year in college.
So you had to grow up fast.
Yeah. So I was paying the bills at 13 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Because my dad was unhealthy. My dad was much older. He's 24 years older than my mom. Okay. So I was an accident, obviously. I have a older brother and sister that are 8 and 9 years older than me, or 9 and 10 years older. I'm not sure. Gotcha. So yeah. So my dad dies. He had retired much earlier than that, had no money. So growing up was cool. We were wealthy, I'm going to say, when I was young, really young, like preschool, elementary school, we had money. My dad owned like 5 or 6 shoe stores in the Los Angeles area.
He owned them. He's an entrepreneur.
Very much an entrepreneur. Oh, okay. He had 5 or 6 stores, like South Central, Manchester and Broadway, 3rd and Alvarado, gnarly
shoe stores.
Okay. Back then it was the platforms,
I gotcha.
And, like you see Huggy Bear wearing in Starsky and Hutch, those kind of nice. Those kind of stuff. So anyway, so he was an entrepreneur. He had all these stores, and then due to the economy, his health, my mom's health, and I think the bills from my mom having cancer and stuff, I think all of that totally brought him down. Oh, okay. So, he ended up, the last job I think he had was working at a friend's shoe store. Gotcha. Kind of helping out. Social Security and all that. My dad wasn't a big investor, unfortunately. When he died, we found a shoe box under the bed with like 30 grand in it.
Old school. Yeah. Yeah, with cash.
Cash. Never had a credit card. Just had a mortgage. Very small mortgage. Simple. That's the way he lived. He was born in 2009, lived through the Depression. Wow. But he was I don't know what the word is. He was slick, like during the Depression, he wasn't hurting. Gotcha. He was selling illegal punch boards. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't. Or he was in the punch board business. It's like illegal lottery.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh,
Makes sense.
So all over the country, he was selling it.
Sounds like bingo.
Yeah. He was on the road. He was
Yeah.
on the road selling this stuff, and you know, people were hurting. Then they needed to spend money. So I think he did pretty well during the Depression.
Gotcha.
But from what he tells us, you know, I should have written down everything the guy said or recorded all his stories. I mean, the stories were, you know, he owned a speakeasy bar in south side of Chicago, where he was from. Him and his brother. His brother was a lawyer and an accountant, and they grew up in an orphanage. They didn't really know their parents. Their parents couldn't afford them, so back then they put him in orphanages.
Oh wow.
You know,
Okay.
so he grew up in an orphanage, but very, very tough man, a hard man.
Hard worker, it sounds.
Yeah, and a hard worker, a badass, actually. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for him. If you talk to my brother or sister about their relationship with him, it'll be totally different.
Right.
You know, I'm sure. But I loved him a lot, and he taught me, he made me who I am. I mean, he really did.
Right.
So.
Well, with that, it sounds like you have hustle in your blood.
We all do. My brother's an entrepreneur. My sister's an entrepreneur.
Oh, really?
We're all are.
That's awesome.
We're all hustlers.
Yeah, and you started, you said, what did you say, 13? You had to start paying bills?
Yeah, I started paying the bills, actually writing the checks, working.
Where'd you work? How'd you get, what was your first job?
My first job was a host at, where are you from?
I'm from Illinois.
But how long were you out here?
In California, I came here in 96.
Okay. So there's a restaurant. It's a classic, famous restaurant on Ventura Boulevard in Woodland Hills called My Brother's Barbecue. Okay. And we used to go there all the time. And my first job was a host there. Okay. I think at 15 years old. Nice. But, yeah. And then from there, what did I do? I went to college.
Where'd you go to school?
CSUN.
Oh, you're really local.
Yeah. Okay. I went there.
What'd you study?
Because I didn't have any because my dad was, like, nobody pressured me to go to school. Nobody, you know, gave me the idea of going to college or going away or doing anything. You know, we didn't have any money. My dad used to make me buy my tennis shoes at Ralph's.
The grocery store?
The grocery store.
Tennis shoes.
Yeah.
I don't even, they sell many?
Like the all white ones?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't get, you know,
I'm on a budget.
Everybody wanted Nikes or Adidas. And all of my because I went to Taft High School, everybody was rich. You know, a kid, 16-year-old, got a Camaro, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh, right.
You know, lifted trucks,
right.
Stuff like that. And I'm from the other side of the tracks. Not really, but, you know, we just didn't have any money anymore, you know. So, you know, stuff like that. So I went to CSUN and studied commercial recreation.
What is that?
So it's business in the recreation field.
Okay.
So like you studied, it's very entrepreneurial.
Okay.
You learn how to like run a ski resort, or you learn how to own and run a bike shop or a ski shop.
I think that's awesome.
These are all my dream jobs. These are all my dream jobs.
Me too. So did I. Right. So.
Yeah.
I took this class. It was I took a couple pretty cool classes, but this one was basically starting your own business.
Oh, great!
In the rec, so I had to do a business plan, and I actually had one all set to go, because I forgot to tell you, while I was in college, I got recruited to be a whitewater rafting guide up on the American River.
Oh my God!
So I did that for awesome. 2 summers.
Oh, you did do it?
Yeah, for 2 summers.
Wow, that's fun. I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even explain to you how much fun that was.
Yeah.
And some of it's not PG. So, but yeah, it's wild times. And so I did that for 2 summers, and basically because I was in LA, I would be like the concierge of the group. I would meet. We'd all meet at like I think it was Anheuser-Busch, where the bus would pull in, and we'd park all there. Everybody would park there, and all the guests would get on the bus, and we'd ride up. And I would always ride up with the guests. It was cool. It was fun. I was like, you know, help, you know, talking to them, and then we get there, I'd help them set up their tents and everything, make sure everybody was cool. And then in the morning we'd, you know, shove off, and it was awesome. So the company I started was going to be Ray's Runaways.
Ray's Runaways.
So it would be whitewater rafting trips in the summer and ski trips in the winter. That was that was the plan. Try getting insurance for that in 1983. You couldn't get insurance. So back then you couldn't sign your life away. Like you couldn't sign an assumption of risk and what else? What's the other form? A release of liability. You know, if you signed that back then and you got hurt, you could sue the out of the company. Oh, gotcha. So then it started holding up in court, these things, if they were written properly and if there was negligence. And
early 80s,
yeah. So then it started holding up, and now today, if you wanted to start that company, you probably could. because you could get insurance. Insurance would insure you. The companies would insure you.
Wow. So you're ahead of your time.
Yeah. So I tried that, and then my dad died my freshman year of college, Thanksgiving of my freshman year, so right in the beginning, and just continued to go to school, and then after that year, I got an invite to move into a house in San Diego and go to San Diego State.
Oh, okay.
So I decided to do it too late, and I couldn't transfer. So I went to a junior college down there, Grossmont Junior College, and I lived with some of my best friends for a year and hung out for a year and studied. And then I moved. And the house I had, when my dad died, he had a house.
Okay.
That my brother, sister, and I that we got. And it had to go through probate and everything because my dad, once again, didn't have a will or anything, Right. So
it's common that even to this day, I mean, people fail to plan.
Yeah. Well, it's not a fun thing to plan.
Yeah.
Take my word for it. I got a living trust, and I went through all that, and it's not fun.
It's not fun. I have one as well, but I the reason I have one is because my dad didn't have one.
Right, exactly. and I'm very highly invested, also.
Yeah.
Because I read Warren Buffett's book that said if you don't have equities, you're not going to be able to do anything in the future. So.
You're perfect for this show. The show is about finance.
Well, yeah,
right?
I do.
Okay, all right.
So, anyways, I went to San Diego State, or I didn't go to San Diego State, but I lived next to San Diego State and commuted to Grossmont.
You went to the parties?
Yeah, I went to all the parties. We had all the parties.
I wanted to clarify that.
We had all the parties. We had there was a bunch of us living in this house, and we had a blast. It was great. I needed to get away because I had this house in Woodland Hills that I inherited part of it, a third of it, but my brother and sister weren't helpful. Like, they weren't putting money into it when I needed it. They weren't managing it or anything. So I said, F you, and I split, and I moved to San Diego, and I rented it, completely rented it.
And the whole house?
The whole house.
And then,
because it was rented. 2 of the rooms were rented. I just rented the third one and moved.
Nice.
And then and I got a job down there, and I worked down there and paid for my schooling, and then moved home next year and went back to CSUN, and so we were all standing around at a buddy of mine's house. That guy Scott I mentioned earlier, Scott Metcalf. He was a assistant to Don Simpson, the movie producer, who has since passed as well. And we were all at his house, and he had a Ferrari of Don's at his house that he had just picked up from a guy like me, a car broker.
Okay. And
he was taking it all around town to get the stereo put in and to get it detailed and all this stuff. And he's like, man, I got to get this. We're like 10 of us are sitting around just, drinking beers on a Sunday afternoon, And he says, man, somebody should start a detail business. I got to get this car detailed. I have nowhere to go. And my buddy Steve and I, we go, that's interesting. We're both going to CSUN, And we both said, screw it, we're going to do it. We started a detail business out of my garage. We essentially we later sold that house that was rented, and I bought a little house down the street by Pierce College. And I had a garage, and we would go pick up cars and come in and detail them.
At the house?
At the house, and then take them back.
Nice.
And that was the idea. That was what we were going to do. And then it started getting busy. And this guy, Steve, didn't have what it took to do it.
Yep.
And because he couldn't live on the edge, he had a plan B, and you can't have a plan B when you're an entrepreneur.
I love that.
That's it.
Arnold. I got that from Arnold, actually. I'm not going to lie.
Somebody else used that, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Wait, somebody else on our show said the same thing. You can't have a plan B, because you commented on that.
Well, Arnold just said it in his special that he did on Netflix.
It's a common
and it's
thing
in his book.
Yeah.
But so he didn't have. He had a plan B. He wanted. He ended up being a lawyer. That's what he does now.
If you have a plan B, you'll end up doing plan B.
Sometimes. I mean, because we'll get there, because I still have a plan B.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, I mean, the detail business was plan A. So I gave him I think it was his initial investment and another $1,000 or something. And I just started hustling and putting flyers out everywhere on people's cars, everywhere I went, and started blowing up. So I had a little Honda Civic, a 1982 Honda Civic, and I started throwing the back of the Honda Civic and going around and doing it mobily. Cheap. I mean, now I look at it, I'm like, I was crazy, And
you have to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I mean, and back then I was digging like half-eaten cheeseburgers out of the back seats of cars because I would do any job. It would take me 5 hours to detail a car, you know,
Wow.
and it doesn't take that anymore, but it used to.
Yeah.
So, you know, fast forward to 38 years later, I'm still doing it.
Are you?
Yeah. I mean, in between, I was making, you know, pretty good money, like 6 figures. Where, you know, I had 8 employees, and I had 2 shops and a mobile unit back in the turn of the century in the 2000s, early 2000s. You know, and that just wasn't working out because insurance was cost too much, workers' comp, employees are a pain. So, and I had 8 of them, and I fired almost all of them, closed the shops, and took 2 of them on the truck with me. That way I could do more mobily if I had more guys. So the idea was like to just get to a place and be like a swarm and like a dust cloud, and then boom, the car's clean kind of idea. That was my, like a cartoon.
Get in, get out.
Yeah. And so we did that, and those were the good days. You know, we were doing like 10, 12-hour days in the summer, you know, 5, 6, 7 days a week whenever the work was there.
Great.
So 38 years later, I'm still doing it. I do work about 12, 15 hours a week. I have 4 or 5 clients, some guys with like car collections that I just kind of go in and I make sure they're all clean. I do a few cars a week. They pay me X amount of dollars per month, and it's steady income.
Sounds like a VIP service now.
It is. It's always been a concierge type. Like when I did Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer, and those guys, Don would have me there 3 days a week. He had all black cars, Ferraris, Porsches, you know, radical SUVs that he'd build out, you know, just gnarly stuff. And we'd go, and the idea was to get in and out without anybody knowing we were there.
Oh, wow.
And when if he were to come out, he would never know we were there. Maybe there was some water on the ground. Be quiet, be neat. I'd never allowed my guys to have music playing or anything. Highly professional.
Wow.
And highly top secret.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
Like confidentiality. I had the keys to his house. I had the gate codes. I had the keys to all the cars.
Wow.
You know, that one investigator, Pelotano or something was his name. He does all the high-end, he's a PI, and he does all the backgrounds, and I've been investigated by those guys a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they've all, you know, vetted me.
Well, I'm sure they don't just hand their keys to anybody.
No.
Yeah.
You know, and then the assistant would roll in, like around, I'd be there at 7, 8 o'clock, and the assistant would roll in, and he just wads of cash back then. And there was no billing or anything. Now I bill, and then I began billing their business manager, and that's all I do now.
Right.
Bill business manager. So it was just, so that was my indoctrination into detailing, or into the car business in general.
Okay.
So then what I did in the early years, when it rained a lot, I would obviously be out of work.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
So I went to work at a ski shop in the winter.
Oh, that's
right.
okay.
So perfect, right?
Yeah, it works great.
Yeah, and I skied a lot in college.
So now you're making cash and detailing these high-end cars.
Right.
And then in the winter you're going to play.
Right.
Even though you're making,
it's a job. There's no money, unfortunately. You know, that cash flow is a problem in the winter.
Yeah.
So I had to go work, you know, at the ski shops. Plus, at the ski shops, I'm getting deals on the equipment. You get pro deals. You know, the reps come in and they, you know, for $100 you're getting a pair of skis. You know, that
the
kind
new
of
stuff.
thing.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then you get discounts on the local mountains too. So I would leave school, you know, after my first class, if I had a class in the morning, and I'd leave school and go bust out to Mountain High.
I was gonna say, are you Mountain High, Bear, or Mammoth?
All of them.
Yeah,
well, Mammoth not so much, but
the local mountains.
Yeah, the local mountains, and then Mammoth we'd do a couple big trips back in the day with all like guys that I worked with at the shop. It was cool.
Nice.
Met some really good people that I'm still friends with today.
Cool.
So while I'm working at the ski shop,
and
this is why I'm headed there. I'm working at the ski shop. I'm behind the counter, and this girl comes in that I went to high school with her husband.
All right.
And I'm like, oh, and her name's Jill, and she goes, hey, this is Trevor. And it's nice to meet you. And he was my husband, Trevor. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. And she goes something like, I heard you're detailing cars. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, Trevor sells auto accessories, like, you know, sheepskin seat covers, stereos, you know, stuff like that.
Sure.
Tinted windows, whatever.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, wow. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you should sell your to my clients, or my clients.
Okay.
You got those kind of clients, car covers, seat covers, floor mats. So I started doing that. And they gave me they gave me like a jobber price, and then I make a couple bucks on every little item, you know, and that started blowing up. So I started doing that a lot. And then he went to work with a broker And like I'm doing with them, he just started doing that. And then that exploded. And he went out and he got his license and his dealer license and his, you know, and they used their office where they were selling the sheepskins and stuff because you got to have a location. That's part of the rules, the California DMV rules. So he started doing that. And then he said, hey, you got to start selling cars to your clients.
Oh, wow.
So boom, 25 years
That's
later.
where it was.
25 years later, I'm brokering cars.
Ray the car guy.
Right.
There he is.
There it is. And anything you need for a car, not just cars, but I do everything. I can do anything you need. I've been around the industry so long, whether it's a mechanic or you want to customize something. Like you've seen my truck, my son's truck now.
Yeah.
I gave it to him, the Tacoma.
It's
all done up.
It's all done up, yeah.
So I did all that.
Yeah.
And then I got that done for free.
Really?
Because one of my big clients, I will not say his name, but he bought a car, a Toyota 4Runner from me. Yeah. And put like 60 grand into it. Wow. And I arranged it, the whole thing. And he said, well, I want to do your suspension for you while we're doing mine as a thank you.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a great hookup.
Wow. It was amazing. It was a tip, so cool. Basically. I mean, he's a good dude. He buys all his cars from me. I still go to his house and detail his cars and stuff. And he's one of my few customers. And I think when I'm 100 years old, I'll still be working for the guy detailing his cars because he's so good to me.
That's great. It's good to stick with good people. That's great.
Yeah, well, so now I only have my detail clients are only people who pay their bills on time and are nice people.
There you go.
And are no headache whatsoever.
It's a good policy.
That's the way you should live life.
I don't need the few $1,000s a month. So when brokering is slow, or like right now, I'm dead actually for the last month or so. Has been kind of slow. January was killer. Last year was my best year ever. January was my best January ever, and then February hit, and somebody turned the faucet off. It's weird. Huh? And part of it is like because there were no cars in 21. Yeah, I didn't do any leasing because I didn't do a lot of new cars. So what I count on a lot is rollover. People leases ending in 3 years. So
all right. Well, here's the thing. This is the big thing. This is why I called and reached out to you. What did we do wrong?
Okay, good. So
he did wrong.
I was laughing a little bit during your podcast. So let me just start by telling you one thing. I used to belong to a network group. Okay. And every week a different person would have to do a presentation. Okay. So one week I did car buying versus car leasing. Okay. That was one of. So the key thing is that all leasing is a creative way to finance a car. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. Okay. However, you have to figure out whether the person is a lease candidate or not.
How do you figure that out?
You just ask a bunch of questions. How long do you generally keep your car or truck, Mr. 10 years or 15 or 20 years or whatever?
You watched it.
19,
you must have
19 years, I think he said. So, right. So that, in that case, and I'm not either. Look, I got a 15-year-old truck sitting in the parking lot. Yeah. Right? But my wife has a new car every 3 years.
She's a lease candidate, right?
So be right. She drives, so high miles. If you drive over 15,000 miles, you're foolish to lease. You can. But you it'll cost you way more money. But if you decide to buy it later, it's much cheaper if you take the high miles.
Oh, really?
Right. So Consumer Reports did a study, and I brought the Consumer Reports into that meeting one time. Leasing a car, buying a car for 3 years, ownership. The cost of ownership over 3 years, whether you buy it or lease it, is the same. To the penny almost.
Really?
Yeah. But think about this. You lease a car.
The same vehicle you're talking about.
Yeah, everything's the same, except for we're leasing it and we're buying it. Mm-hmm. Okay. The lease, you put money up front. I call it out-of-pocket expense, right? I don't call it a down payment because dealers call it a down payment, and then it doesn't include first month and tax and everything. So I say out-of-pocket or total drive-off. No BS there. The dealers. There's a lot of BS involved when you lease a car because they don't have to tell you a lot of things. They don't have to tell you the cost of the money, stuff like that. I tell you everything. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so you're going to put money up front. Let's say it's $1,000. Mm-hmm. Let's say the payment's $300 a month for 36 months. At the end of the lease, you have a choice. Give the keys back, lease another one. If you like that car, get the same car, whatever, or go lease something else. That could be expensive going to another brand though, because you got to pay a disposition fee.
What's that?
The disposition fee is a lease end fee.
Okay.
It's probably kind of BS.
Is it like a cancellation?
No, it's a lease end fee.
Just a lease end fee.
And in the beginning, there's a bank fee.
Okay.
So they're all both kind of BS. They pay for your gap insurance. Except unless it's a Toyota, you don't get gap insurance on a lease. But every other brand provides gap insurance. I don't know why Toyota.
It's policy.
Yeah, I don't know what Toyota does, but you got to get your
He's
own.
upset because he's a Toyota guy.
So am I.
Yeah.
I have my wife. We usually have 3 Toyotas. This is the first non-Toyota I got my wife in a long time.
Oh, what's she have?
She's got the new Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is beautiful.
The big one.
Yeah. No, the little one, the regular one, the Grand Cherokee. So there's a Cherokee,
the
Grand
Wagoneer.
Cherokee, and Wagoneer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's the Cherokee.
Okay.
And a Grand Cherokee.
She likes it?
We had 2 before, years ago, and they were the best deal in town at the time, so we got them. And I thought that this was a really good deal, and I thought she would like it, so we got it, and she loves it. So
That's what I noticed when you're saying a good deal.
right.
Like, is it
I'll explain a good deal to you in a second.
okay? I will pump the
I was
brakes.
headed that way.
Okay.
I was headed that way. So
It's always a good deal.
That's why I when he reached out, I was like, yo, if he's serious about coming on the show, this is gonna be really good.
Of course.
I'm glad to educate people too.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be done.
What's crazy, and you will be educating people because on that specific, I've been hit up by people who said they've watched that, and like now they're changing their mind on what.
Right. So, let me just finish this thought about what the Consumer Reports said.
Yeah.
So at the end of the term of the lease, let's just use round numbers. So let's just say you got your $1,000, your $300 a month, which is $9,000. It's $10,800 plus the $1,000 drive off. You're in at $11,800 for the 3 years of driving that car.
Okay.
That doesn't include oil changes and stuff, but it may. If it's a BMW, it might be included. If it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee, now you get the first 2 years of oil changes and stuff free. If it's a Toyota, you get Toyota Care, which is 2 years of free maintenance. So it's happening now, or you can buy it up front too. So $11,800, I said. If you buy that car, now you're putting, in order to get a $300 payment, you're putting 10 grand down at least, right? Your payment, say your payment's $300. Now it's 3 years, right? You've paid off your payment. Now your payoff after 3 years is whatever it is. I don't even know, because of interest and stuff. We don't know that answer, but. And you to get rid of it, let's say you don't want it after 3 years, or you're going to get rid of it. Now you got to sell it, trade it in, do whatever.
Yep.
They give you whatever it is. You subtract the payoff amount from what they give you. Now you put that in your pocket. It's like to the penny the same cost after 3 years.
That's amazing.
Right. So
I would have never thought that.
no, and I didn't either until I read the article in Consumer Reports, and anybody can go probably Google that. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's similar. So what you guys had said in your previous podcast was that to get wealthy or whatever, to head in that direction, buying is probably better than leasing, and buying certified pre-owned is even better, and buying one off of lease is even better than that.
Ooh, buying off lease. We didn't even talk about that. Did we?
You guys did. Yeah.
We did a little bit.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We've done so many, I can't even
So
remember.
I will agree to that if you're buying a car and plan on keeping
it.
Gotcha.
Okay. The problem I have with used cars is it has to be the right car, the right interest rate, or paying cash. Okay. Because I have had people come to me with older, and the right car, I mean the right brand of car, something that's going to last long, that you don't need to buy a warranty, an expensive used car warranty like a Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Porsche. They tend to break after 53 or 40 or 50,000 miles. That's their factory warranties on those cars. They tend to break, and they are very expensive to fix. Now, if you go to Mercury Insurance, you can get a warranty, a cheap, fairly reasonable warranty. So, and I recommend doing that kind of thing if you're going to buy a used car. I did it. Okay. That truck that my son drives, that really bitchin' Tacoma, I bought. It was a lease.
Oh, okay.
And I bought it out of the lease, and I financed it, and I bought a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty
Through Mercury?
through Mercury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the key to buying a warranty, I'm going off on a tangent, but when you go to a dealer, they want to sell you a warranty, whether it's on a CPO. Hopefully the car's got a factory warranty left. Like you want to buy a 2-3-year-old car. Like, oh, you buy a 3-year-old Lexus, you got a year left on the warranty. You don't need to buy certified pre-owned. All they're doing when you buy a certified pre-owned is they're putting a warranty on it.
Okay.
That's all they're doing. It's no different than the car down the street at some dude's house. That's the same car. It just doesn't have a warranty. Right? They tell you, oh, we go through it and we check this and do
100-point inspection.
Yeah, whatever it is, right? So they're going to do that on every used car because that's the law.
Right.
When I buy a used car, I have to send it to a mechanic and he has to safety check it.
Gotcha.
He has to make sure the brakes work, everything works. Everybody has to do that.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, so there's different reporting services out there. Carfax. What's the other one?
I don't know. Auto check.
Auto check. Yeah. So they're saying it's one owner, which is verified, right? That has to be true. But
those are pretty legit.
Right. But when you bump into somebody or there's a legitimate accident, but it's not reported.
Okay. So
explain that a little bit because I don't think that's very accurate.
Well, if it's not reported, it's not on Carfax.
Correct.
So I'm losing track. So we talked about the warranty. Mm-hmm. You never buy a used car. If you ever buy a warranty at the dealer, they're going to hate me for saying that. Because if your warranty is 3 or 36,000 miles and you buy a new car, right? You're covered automatically bumper to bumper for 3 or 36,000 miles.
Sure. Yep.
Hands down. Nothing changes.
This is how it is.
Right. They want to sell you at the dealer because the finance guy makes his money from selling you stuff. Bumping rates.
Yeah. Their tone changes.
Yeah, they're telling you. I can't believe I'm saying this in public, but they tell you, oh, maybe your credit's not up to par, so we're gonna have to bump it a point or half a point. He puts that money in his pocket.
Right.
He sells you undercoating, paint sealant, window tint, low jack. That's his job. That's how he makes commission.
It's all the bump ups. Yeah.
So on your podcast, you say you never buy that stuff.
Nope.
Smart.
Yep.
So when they go to sell you a warranty on a new car, they're going to give you a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty for whatever it costs. And I'll get them for people if they want them. Mm-hmm. But what I tell them is like, look, this is what you do. You're driving your car. Your car comes with 3 or 36,000 miles. If you buy that 5-year warranty, it starts now. It doesn't start when your 3-year warranty.
You just wasted those 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you wait till the last minute and the last mile of your factory warranty, and you can go back to them and get it at the.
And then you buy it.
You can go to the Toyota dealer or the Mercedes dealer and go buy it.
Okay.
But I recommend going elsewhere, and you're still under the new car warranty. Mm-hmm. If you have your factory warranty still, when you go to buy the aftermarket or the other warranty, your car is still considered new because it's covered under the warranty still.
Okay.
Then you get a better deal on that warranty.
Got it.
So that's what you do, and now you're
you can stretch it another 5.
You can do whatever you want.
Really?
They come in all different shapes and sizes.
Okay.
And so now you got a legitimate 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Wow.
And anybody can go buy those,
Mm-hmm.
So
you could ask anyone. You got Mercury, State Farm.
Right. Well, no, Mercury, not everybody sells them, but like GE sells them. There's a company called Warrantac. There's all kinds of. You probably get phone calls and emails from people telling you your car warranty's up, and they're all over the internet. These companies. So, yeah, you can always go get an aftermarket warranty.
Okay.
But so
that's a good point.
So it's something nobody ever thinks about.
Well, yeah, they
don't teach you. Everybody's so excited about buying a car that they listen to the guy and they buy all that stuff. So this is the reason why people buy cars from me, because they don't have to they're not being pressured on anything, not even on the sale. I don't pressure them on the sale. It is what it is. I don't consider myself a salesman. I consider myself a service provider.
Okay.
So that's that. And then, so you guys on the CPO thing, it's cool, but
I'm a big CPO guy.
Yeah.
Just because this is kind of what I was taught or learned, whether it's right or wrong, is in my mind, a CPO is a lot of times like a lease return.
Right.
Right. So it's a
Well,
lease
and
return.
they have to be a certain amount of miles.
That's what I'm saying.
They won't certify a car that has 50,000 miles. It's got to be like 20. So that's cool anyways.
So it's just broken.
No, I get it.
And I don't have to pay the depreciation.
Right. Right. For sure.
Yeah.
But I've had guys buy Audis, Mercedes, BMWs used, be it certified pre-owned or not. They buy them used. They do a 60-month loan or 72-month loan.
Oh, wow.
Something stupid
Stretch it
like
out,
that,
yeah.
right? The car breaks down.
Sure.
New transmission, let's say.
Oof.
They call me and say, what do I do? I said, well, do you have a buyer for it, or do you want to buy it? And I'll look it up, and they'll tell me their payoff. And I'm like, why do you still owe $35,000? And they'll say, oh, I bought it used. I'm like, well, you're about 10 grand upside down still.
Oof.
Now that car's, call it 6 years old, and they're going to have to fix it and drive it before it makes any sense.
And that transmission is going to be a fortune.
Whatever, yeah.
I mean, my transmission, my BMW when I was younger went out. I think it was like $8,500.
Right.
So I couldn't park
My
anywhere.
Silverado transmission was $2,500 when it went out.
Yeah, because I drove around for months, not parking anywhere where I couldn't pull forward because I lost my reverse.
Right. That's funny. That's funny. So that's something seriously to think about. When you're buying a used car. So I'm all for, buying a used car that's lost its depreciation.
Yeah.
But once again, unless you're a baller, and you can afford a $500-$600 monthly payment to buy a $30,000 used car, you got to come up with 10 grand, right, to make it a $300-$400 payment.
Because the interest rates are higher.
Right. Well, even back when they weren't, it's $20.
No, but just used cars in
right.
general.
Well, used car interests are higher than new cars for sure.
Yeah.
But it's figured I average it out like at 4 or 5% interest. It's $20 per thousand financed. So if you're buying a $30,000 car, no money down, you got a $600 a month payment.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of how it works out. Right? Gotcha. So you got to be leasing. So now I'll tell you why I like leasing.
Okay.
And and it's not for everybody.
Sure.
I mean, look, I lease some and I buy some.
Yep.
I lease them and then I buy them in a lot of cases.
All right.
And so let's start with why I'm an advocate of leasing for certain people. Okay. What rules you out of leasing is high miles. Right. Yep. It just doesn't make sense.
That's what keeps me out of it.
Right.
Because I live in Agora and I drive
to here
every day.
Right. It takes a lot of people out of it. No question. But if you own your own business,
you write it off.
Big tax write-off.
Yeah.
The money you put up front, the monthly payment, and anything else you do to the car is a tax write-off. 100%.
Wow.
Right.
Doesn't matter on the weight or anything?
No. Well, the way high, the trucks are
that's what I was just saying.
You got to purchase the trucks to get that rebate.
Got it.
You have to own your own business. You can't.
Yeah, you have to be incorporated.
Correct.
And you have to. You can't even just be a sole proprietor. You got to be incorporated.
Yeah, no LLC.
Right.
It's got to be a corporation.
So anyways, so that works. But and that could be a BMW X7 because they're over 8,000 pounds.
But you still have to be able to make the payment.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah.
So anyways.
I think, sorry to interrupt you, but I think a lot of times what I've experienced with that is people are like, oh, I can get a G-Wagon because I can write it all off. Well, writing it all off doesn't necessarily mean you can afford it.
No.
You know, you have to be able
if you need that write-off, you could probably afford it.
Yeah.
That's kind of another way to look at it.
That's a good point.
So anyways, so that's the one thing is if you're self-employed, you got a huge tax write-off. Right. Yep. Or the way I do it is it's easier. I write off my miles instead of all my payment. It's just easier to calculate. So we just do it that way. And my accountant did he looked at both ways a long time ago and it was about the same. So so anyways, that's one reason. The other reason is when you lease a car, you pay tax only on the monthly payment. Okay, so if it's a $500 payment and you live in LA, you're paying $50 a month in tax. So 50 times 36, that's 1,500, and another 300, so that's 1,800 you pay over 3 years of leasing your car in tax to the government. You buy that same car, that same $50,000 car, you're paying $5,000 in tax right in the beginning, and you'll never see it again.
Oh, it's up front.
Right, and you never see it again. It's gone. The car loses its value. Tax is gone. We all pay too much in tax anyways.
I dig this. This is making me really excited.
We all pay too much tax.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So why pay it on a
I pay it up front that you're never going to get back.
You never get it back.
You're saying on the purchase.
On a purchase.
Yeah.
Ever.
Because that's the thing that always gets you. It's like, oh, well, we got you in for this car, and this car is $30,000. And then I go to check out finally, and they're like, oh, you got to do tax and license.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what if you buy a 2008 Sequoia with 190,000 miles?
So $5,000
with a timing chain.
$5,000?
No, it's like $8,000.
Okay, so $8,000. You got your $800 in tax.
Yeah,
but if you do that from a private party, you tell them to write it up for $3,000.
Well, maybe I did that. Maybe I didn't.
Maybe.
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Facebook Marketplace.
Hey, they didn't pay us, bro.
So
One
anyways,
day.
so that's another reason, the tax. Okay. Another reason is, let's just say you bought a Chevy Suburban. You leased a Chevy Suburban. Or no, let's say you bought a Chevy Suburban.
Okay.
A nice new Escalade or Suburban.
Yeah.
Right? Gas prices go to $10 a gallon.
Oh, man.
Right? What is that Escalade worth?
Nothing.
Right.
No one
Who
wants
takes
it.
that hit?
You.
Right.
Because you bought it.
Right. What if you leased it?
Ooh. Well, then you can give back.
Right. At the end of the lease, you drive the out of it and give it back.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you rent a car.
Right.
You take out that insurance where, I don't know.
Give it back in a plastic bag.
Yeah. Everyone's heard that story, right?
But seriously, though, that's a benefit to
leasing.
To leasing. What if it's a Prius and all of a sudden the accelerators start sticking? What does that value do?
No one wants them.
Right. So bottom line is, that's another reason.
To give it back.
The other thing is, in today's world, and you mentioned Carfax, let's say you own a car, you get in a wreck, you have to go through insurance. You just lost more value on your car. More than the accident itself. Now nobody wants it because everybody wants to run a Carfax.
Yeah.
So if you lease it, it's the bank's problem.
Yeah. It's a lot of outs.
And what's a quick question about what's the difference between, let's say it's a $500 payment for whatever car. It's the same car, but you're leasing it and you're buying it. When you're leasing it, the insurance, what is the difference between insurance?
Car insurance?
Yeah, if you're buying it or same car.
Well, if you're financing, are you financing the buy?
Yeah, you're financing the car.
No difference.
It's the same.
It's like a house.
Got it.
Right? They make you have insurance. Right? If you have a loan on the car, you have to have insurance. Usually it's $300,000. I think 100, 300 is what the lease requires, and usually the bank requires the same thing. So, for guys our age, it doesn't matter.
But if you pay cash for $30,000,
you can do whatever the hell you want
on the insurance.
Yeah. You $3,000 car, you're only doing liability.
No. For $30,000.
Oh, $30,000. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
But you got to figure what's your net worth, right? Is it 100? Is it 300,000? I mean, it's a guy who's worth $10 million. He's got to have limits. He's got to have like $15 million limits. So that's a personal decision. But they do require you to have a minimum, and you're required to have insurance. And
you said there's a difference between tonnage. Right, for
a tax write-off.
For 5,000, but I think you can also do that with a personal vehicle too, like Article 179 or something. I don't know that. I think it's never popped up. I just did it with my accountant. Yeah, it's never, because the car's 5,000 pounds, I think, for a personal vehicle.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you, but
for a personal, I never heard of personal. I'll have to look that up.
There's no reason for that. I just
did it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's interesting. I'll ask my accountant that.
Yeah, check your accountant.
No, I actually told my accountant that because I looked it up. Somebody told me, and then I verified it. Asked him. He's like, "Sure, you can write it off."
Interesting.
Wow.
So those are some major reasons I like leasing.
Leasing. Yeah.
The last one is, at the end of the lease, we said it before, you can buy it if you love it.
Yep.
And you got into it with no money. $1,000, $2,000 out of pocket, and now when you buy it, you don't have to put any money down.
I was going to ask you that.
No, so I just bought this truck out of lease for my son.
Yeah.
So I bought it in 2018. I drove it for 3 years, with the plan of giving it to him as a graduation present. Okay, he was going to graduate college when it was his Carrot that was dangling in front of him.
Nice,
badass truck.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to get him a new one. So a 3-year-old. 4-year-old truck. I think
it's beautiful. It's brand new.
Right. I gave it to him, and I had bought it out of the lease, and I think I put $1,000 down when I bought it, when I leased it, made payments for 3 years, and then I bought it again. I just called Logic's Bank. Have you ever heard of them?
They're great. That's who I use.
Yeah.
So
great.
I have a gal there that I refer people. I must refer 5 people a week to her.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I went.
They're the best rates.
I went to her and I got 2.14. It was all before.
When was this?
Before the
last presidential election.
No, 2021, right?
Yeah.
That's when I did it.
Yeah.
And you know, so I didn't put any money out of my pocket, and I just went there, and they did all the paperwork. It was great.
Yeah.
So
all right, if I'm following along,
yeah.
You've just taught me that I should lease a vehicle, even though I do high miles, with the intention to buy it out of the lease at the end, because I'm not going to put as much down up front. I'm not going to pay as much tax up front. I'm going to lease the vehicle regardless of the miles. I don't care because I know I'm going to buy it out of the lease.
Right. And so basically you're buying a used car.
I just say
you're buying a used car who you know the owner and how it was taken care of.
And on the lease vehicles, from what I know, is sometimes they run these unbelievable deals on vehicles. Like, for instance, the Toyota Tundra, right? You can get a 4-wheel drive Toyota Tundra, which one of our partners did recently, right? And he's paying like nothing for this vehicle. Nothing.
Which, he leased it?
He leased it.
Which model? Do we know?
It's the...
Oh, it's the twin turbo, probably.
SR5.
It's the SR5, probably.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Because I just quoted a guy last week for the 1794. You know what that one is?
Oh, that's limited edition.
That's high end.
It's nice. Yeah. $883 a month.
Yeah, this is just a 4-wheel drive
$71,000 sticker.
Yeah, but this is just 4-wheel drive, 4-door new.
Huh? 40 grand?
No, it was probably 50 something. But there is a special deal. The rate is good on the cheap ones.
Yeah, down the cheap
rate's
ones.
terrible.
But how much a month is he paying?
He's paying like $340 a month.
Oh, but he must have put a chunk out.
Had to.
I don't know.
Had to.
Again, he's going to dial in and tell us all this because there's
Call
more.
Call him right now.
I'd love to.
I want to verify to get a $300 payment.
We would all do it.
I would do it on a $50,000 truck.
Yeah.
Right. How much you have to put down to get a $300 payment with the interest rates right now?
It just depends. Like, so I just quoted a car and I can't remember what it was. Dodge Ram.
Call him right now.
No, the Dodge Ram. I looked for 2 different clients of mine were looking.
You can call him, ask him and
nice,
holler at us.
Nice.
See what he put down.
Full-size trucks.
And ask him what his payment is.
I looked at Silverado. I looked at GMC. I looked at Toyota, and because he really wanted a Toyota, and I looked at Dodge Ram. And their Dodge Ram Laramie edition, top of the line, leather, 4x4. The money factor was 0.4 zeros and an 8. So you calculate the interest rate by multiplying by 24. It's under a percentage point.
Yeah.
For interest. Okay?
That's why my eyes went like, huh?
Right. So that's a deal.
That's a great
deal. I haven't
deal.
seen that since.
Is a purchase?
A lease. I haven't seen that since before the pandemic, where you could get a Toyota Camry for 0.4 zeros and a 1. Wow. Back in the day.
Wow.
You know, but or a Toyota Corolla. You know, a Toyota Corolla from 2020 or 2021. I was doing it like $200 a month. Today, that's $450 a month.
Jeez.
Yeah, during the pandemic, it was $450 a month, even with low interest rates.
Right.
Because the car was way over MSRP. And now the prices come down, but interest rates have tripled since 21.
So sorry, because this is also a learning thing.
Sure.
MSRP, what's that?
Manufacturer suggested retail price.
There you go.
You don't want to pay that. That you guys were talking about. You guys were talking about rack price.
Yeah.
That's what rack price.
Rack rate,
Okay.
MSRP,
Rack rate, whatever. But we've gotten used to paying it because that was a deal. MSRP was a deal.
Yeah.
From like mid-summer of 2020.
Yeah.
Once we started having the supply chain issues.
Was it chips? What
It's
was
still chips, actually.
Still.
Sometimes when if you get a Toyota today, you might only get one key still because they use that chip for like the radio or something.
Oh my gosh.
And they'll send you a key like 3 months later.
Huh.
You know, but there's still a little bit of a chip issue. And right now there's a bunch of Porsches held up at the port. I don't know if they've resolved it yet, but they have illegal chips in them.
Really?
Chips that have come from like Russia. And there's a ban on those things, right? We're not trading with Russia or anybody, so they're sitting at the port till it gets resolved, like Carreras and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, at least that's what I was told. The reason why I haven't verified that. So
what would you tell a viewer, right? What would you suggest for a viewer, right? That's let's call him a younger person that's kind of getting started, trying to get ahead, trying to figure out what's next in life, has a full-time job, with everything you said, like, what would you say? Would you go out and buy a Facebook marketplace for cash, used vehicle with high miles, or would you lease something new, or would you what? I know you don't have the answer, and it's always different.
3 years ago, if you asked me this question, I'd say go lease a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic.
Okay.
Yep, I love it.
Under $1,000 out of your pocket.
Okay.
And under $300 a month.
Perfect. Love it.
All day long, including tax.
Wow.
Okay, that was then.
Yeah.
Today, I can still find some deals. Like right now, the VW Jetta is like $340 a month for the Sport Edition.
To purchase?
The lease.
Lease. You keep going purchase.
I'm just clarifying. I'm clarifying.
We are hot on this lease thing.
I'm clarifying for the viewers.
The Tiguan's a good deal.
Back off.
Don't talk unless you know what you're talking about, George.
But to buy for that kid, unless he's making good money and he's got a savings account, to make a affordable payment, he either has to buy that cheap car with high miles.
Yeah.
You talking about my car?
Or
you were looking in my direction. I saw what you did.
Or he's got to come up with a lot of money down.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to. Yeah. Your money. Another reason I like leasing. Yeah. Your money is your $10,000 that you want to put down on a car is way better off not in a car. It's better off in an investment that's bringing interest.
It's working for you.
Or it's working for you. It's in a bank account, even making whatever 3.34% interest. If it's that, I don't even know.
Even money markets are about 5%.
Yeah. So
money markets.
That's the good news about the interest rates going up. Is the money markets went up.
This is a smart man here who you should rewind and listen to again, right? Because ultimately he's saying, live with the least amount of money out of your pocket so you can maximize other areas to make the money work for you, which we've talked about before, right? So,
or if you want to go to Hawaii, that money's better off spent elsewhere.
If you're an experience-oriented person and like to, go spend that cash, then you have the money to spend.
Go skiing.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever floats your boat.
But a car is a bad investment.
Yeah.
It's a bad investment.
If I told you that if this is another push for leasing. If I told you that when you buy your house, you're going to lose 50% in the first 3 years, would you buy it or would you rent it?
I would probably rent it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what a car does. It loses, if you look at residual values, they're generally between 40 and 60%, depending on the car.
Wow.
So your car loses between 30 and 50% in 3 years. That's what the banks decide.
Gotcha.
So that brings me to another point. The three most important things when you lease a car: the cost of the car, the price, the cost of the money. The money factor is what they call it. It's an interest rate. It's just a fancy way. And the third is the residual value. So the higher the residual, the lower the payment. Because if it's a 60% residual, it's based on the MSRP, the manufacturer suggested retail price. That residual value is based on that number. So if it's 60%, you're only financing 40%. If it's 40%, you're financing 60%. So that affects your payment directly. So those are the three most important.
And what determines that again?
The bank.
The bank. Because I've heard you say
guesstimation.
You've talked a lot about Toyota and Honda.
Right. High residuals.
That's
why they leave BMW.
Yeah.
High residuals.
Yeah.
Big resale value.
I was gonna say big resale. High residual is big resale. Exactly. Which means they know if they recoup that car or pull that car back from you, they can sell it at a high price.
So for years, BMW was losing money on a lot of their leasing because they were inflating the residual values in order to make sales. And this is not a dealer doing this. This is the manufacturer. This is BMW Financial. And rumor has that they were losing a bunch of money, so they made their residuals a little more realistic.
Okay.
Jeep Grand Cherokee, when I leased 2 in a row back in the 90s,
Yeah.
same thing. They had like 70% residuals.
Wow.
And that made the payment lower.
Right.
Now, legitimately high residual would be a Toyota Tacoma, 73% residual. Jeep Wrangler, very high residual in the 70s. Because why? Because they resell very well.
They resell.
They hold their value.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What about longevity in these brands?
Toyota?
I don't know. You tell me.
Toyota, look, if you go to whatever, J.D. Powers or whatever,
Number
Consumer
one.
Reports, Lexus,
Yep.
Toyota, Honda, Acura, even Nissan. Now it's Hyundai and Kia are up there.
It's not Ford.
And believe it or not, Porsche
Really?
is up there high.
Really?
Yeah. They've gotten, somehow they're reliable.
Really?
Now, what if I get in trouble? What if I have a 3-year lease
Good question.
What do you mean
And-
in trouble?
financially?
Very
got
good
it.
question.
Yeah. So I'm financially in trouble. I'm
So-
a year and a half in.
So you can relate to this during the strike. I had a lot of people calling me about their cars they had just bought
bet.
a year before. They leased a year before. I have a lot of industry clients. So a lot of everyday guys, like, grips and, set designers and just guys building sets.
Sure.
And, I have a lot of everyday guys that are in the film industry and some actors and stuff, but mostly those guys. And I had calls, like crazy calls, like, hey, I can't make my payment. I haven't worked and I don't know when I'm going to work. What can I do? And so there's a few things you can do. You have the right to sell it. Most leases are assumable. So you could, get somebody to take it over. It's a little bit of work, but I help people do it.
Okay.
I've helped people do it. If you had a BMW 5 Series and you were on a lease and you couldn't afford it anymore, and I had a guy call me looking for a BMW, I would try to put you guys together. And
Gotcha.
a lot of times the person who has the lease and is trying to get it taken over, they'll have to supplement the deal with a couple $1,000s or something in order to, because the deal might be different than when you got it.
Sure.
It might be cheaper.
Uh-huh.
So he could go out and get a new car for a cheaper payment than you.
Better than losing your everything.
Yeah, so we help do that. I have helped do that. It's not what I don't make a living doing that, but there is a website that does. It's called Swap a Lease.
I was just about to say that. I've been on that
There's
website
a couple
few times.
websites that do that.
Yeah. But can you explain? You're completely taking over the lease, so the person is just they put their lease on that site and hope somebody will take it over.
Right. So exactly what it is. And
Okay.
but the bank, first of all, it has to be assumable. Not all leases are assumable.
What's the percentage?
I don't know. Most of them are.
Almost more.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's a fee to do it,
Mm-hmm.
with the bank, they charge a fee to do it. Person has to qualify. They got to send in a credit application and get qualified, and it's an ordeal.
Yeah, I bet it is.
So I've done it a few times, but it's hard.
Because what I was going to say is, I don't know if you could shed any light on, but I guess, a quick breakdown of the things to watch for, like, let's say prepayment penalties and stuff like that, right? Are there anything specifically to watch for in a lease deal or a purchase deal when you go to purchase it that you don't want in your deal? Like, is there any hidden cost or hidden return fee or hidden anything that you should look for?
Yeah, there is. So on a lease, there's always a bank fee. Most is around, I don't know the exact. Some are $750, some are $895.
Can you negotiate that out?
No,
You can't.
it's not up to the dealership. That's a bank.
It just is what it is.
The banks charge it for whatever reason.
Pushing paper.
Yeah, it's that, or I think it covers the gap insurance. Maybe I know that. And then at the end of a lease, if you don't get the same brand, there is a disposition fee. And that could be $395 or $595 or something like that. I know they're probably limited.
You talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
the
So,
disposition.
Would you mind walking people through really quickly what gap insurance is?
yeah,
so some
sure.
people might not
So
know
I
what
heard
it
you
is.
guys talking about gap insurance.
Yeah.
Another thing the dealers are going to hate me for. You don't want to buy gap insurance from the dealer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because you can get it, I think it's $6 every 6 months with your regular insurance policy.
Oh, my God.
Something stupidly cheap. Might be more than that.
These
now.
are great hacks, though.
Yep.
It might
This
be,
is what people need.
it might be more than that now, but it's still way cheaper than the guy who's making money on selling it to you
Yeah.
So if you look at a contract that I do when I do a deal, there's a whole right side of the contract. This is the generic contract. Law contract or law forums makes this contract that everybody uses. It's not the BMW one or Audi one or whatever. But you look at the right side, you'll see when I do it, it'll have non-applicable all the way down. And that's selling you life insurance, gap insurance, whatever. Car loan insurance.
Just insurance after insurance after
all
insurance.
this stuff. And we don't sell any of that. So
What are you doing?
You got them?
No, I just pulled up an article, but it's from 2021 from Car and Driver,
Uh-huh.
and it says gap insurance is like $20 to $30 a year.
right. Oh, so it's cheap.
Yeah, but this
It's
is
cheaper than I thought,
Still, like
well, I
it could
was-
be more, but yeah, I mean, you're in the realm. You're in the
Yeah.
realm.
Compared to the dealer.
That's
Because I'm a Toyota guy, I have it.
Yeah.
I needed to go get it because they don't provide it, so I got it. And my guy told me, I'm like, well, why wouldn't I have that?
yeah, it's cheap.
It's like having an umbrella policy.
Yeah.
They're cheap enough to have. So.
Yeah. Well, that was Dave talking in the background. We mentioned him sometimes. You can't see him though, but he's back there running the controls and Googling and making sure Ray's on point.
He's making sure you look good too.
I always look good, bro.
Look at this guy. Can I just ask
Oh,
one thing?
one more thing. Yeah.
He lets me talk sometimes, Ray, but I want to just get your opinion because it's swirling out there with if I'm going to keep a car that's going to go, let's say 100,000 miles, and then somebody's going to go buy an electric vehicle. This debate where I'm going to save money for 100,000 miles on not paying for gas, but you're still paying for electricity. Those cars kind of have not been proven to be reliable from what I've read.
So what did you learn from me? What do you do?
Oh, if you're going to get an electric car, just have fun for 3 years and lease it for,
He listened.
and just have fun, right? But to own one at 100,000 miles, they have to put in a whole new battery. And I'm not going to say any electric car names, but you can't do anything with the car. It's like a $20,000 fix for a new battery. And then everybody's just, if you see these prices of electric cars, they're having a lot of difficulty from what I'm reading. Can you clarify, do you sell them?
Best deal in the world right now
Yeah.
is a high-end electric car.
Really?
BMW iX, the SUV, the electric one. For a $100,000 car, you're under $1,000 a month on a lease.
Wow.
It's a lot of car for the money.
Yeah.
Right? Bitchin' car too, actually.
And they're a lot of fun.
It's a really nice car.
with the torque.
The
and,
Audi Q4 e-tron, another all electric SUV. Great deal.
So we can floss for a budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no way you would buy an
No,
electric car.
No, I wouldn't buy a hybrid back in the day because the technology was changing. Now I'd buy a Prius all day long.
Yeah.
It's proven. And hybrids are the way to go because that's why electric cars, I'm not, I'm no expert on this, but electric cars, the reason they're not selling and the prices are so good is because I guess the infrastructure is still not there. And then you go to Charge America or whatever these companies are that put up the chargers.
They're broken.
A lot of them aren't working.
Yep.
I've seen that on the news. So everybody's going to the hybrid. So let's talk BMWs. The iX, $100,000 iX is, call it $1,000 a month. And these are just numbers off the top of my head. They're not firm, hard numbers. So
of course.
hold me to them.
Yeah.
But a $75,000 or $80,000 X5 hybrid, the plug-in hybrid, which is the best of both worlds because now the new ones get a few miles extra on the all electric, and that car leases for $500 more a month, and it's cheaper, yet it's because it makes more sense. And to me, I've always thought that it made more sense than all electric.
Oh wow!
Because if you have all electric, you got to have another car if you're going to go travel.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's what kept me from all electric.
Is
I can't take the trip, and if you did take the trip, even if you charge,
stressful.
like you're gonna have to watch a movie while you charge,
and it's stressful.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Have you heard of this thing called range anxiety?
It totally is. Look, I had to get gas on my way here, and I knew I could get off the freeway and go get gas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, but if it was electric, I'd be sweating.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's a real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
But for somebody who tools around town,
Yeah.
The hybrid is great because you'll get all electric. I know people that say they haven't put gas in their car for, since they got it from me, kind of thing, because they don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if they do, they decide, hey, we're going to Vegas for the weekend. No problem. Put gas in it and go.
Well, I had 2 Priuses and I loved them to death.
I had one. They're great.
Good cars.
The newer Prius I had got insane gas mileage. I think
the new plug-in versions of all these cars, I don't care what it is the ticket right now.
Those are the ones.
plug-ins.
Yeah, because you can get 30, 40 miles all electric.
Right.
Wow.
And if that's all you're going per day.
Right.
Yeah. So is that the same technology of the Volt? Wasn't the Volt
So
ahead
the
of
Volt
its time?
is an interesting tech, and they're coming out with a full-size truck with the same tech. I heard somebody told me this. Somebody at a dealership. I think my GM guy told me. So the Volt had a little engine. It was more of a generator, right? So it charged the battery. It didn't power the car. Where Prius, the engine and the battery power the car, and that's why a lot of hybrids are super fast, like the Porsche 918.
Yeah.
That's a hybrid.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The Ferrari Enzo was a hybrid.
Wow, no
Yeah,
kidding.
there's a McLaren. So those cars are fast,
Yeah.
right? I think the Enzo's a hybrid. One of those. I saw something on what was that show where the 3 guys, the English
Top Gear?
guys, Top Gear,
Yeah.
They did a race with those 3 cars, the McLaren, the Porsche, and the
Ferrari.
No, the Enzo's not a hybrid. I think that was the problem or something. They did like an electric test, like electric only or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was, or it's not, you can't switch it or something. I don't remember what it was, but that's where I learned that those supercars were hybrids.
They're super fast.
Super fast.
Because it's instantaneous power.
Right. Well, those electric cars, you ever drive a go-kart at MB2 or K1?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Torque.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, look, this has been great, man.
I love it.
I appreciate it.
We all
I
love
could,
cars.
I could,
We're a bunch of dudes. We love cars.
but I
And
could,
I love talking about it.
I could sit here for hours and talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and we could keep going, but I mean, do you have anything else that you didn't touch on that we're missing that we should share? Or, I mean, we can always have you back too, and
Yeah, I think we covered it all because we really the focus was whether we should lease or buy.
yeah.
And
So
I hope I didn't
No, this is
this
great.
is fantastic.
overdo the leasing
No,
thing.
no. You changed my mind in a way.
I
Now
wanna
I'm going
lease
to
a
be
car
thinking
now.
about it. Yeah, me too. I want to lease a car,
I
but
think I'm going to go to Ray's lot
Oh,
right
the
now.
other yeah, I mean,
lease a car.
You got 3 new customers.
Lease a car because it's less. But see, I do high miles, right?
Right.
So I have to lease it with the intention to buy it.
right. So the way to do that is
There you
take 15,000 miles a year. Your payment's going to be a little higher, maybe $50 or whatever, 75 more per month. But the residual value is based on those miles because the more miles, the less it's worth when at the end, and then it's cheaper to buy at the end.
Perfect. I like it. Like that. That's been super enlightening for me because I've never really gone down a lease path.
But
you know?
But there's a but. Before you decide to buy that car at the end,
Yeah,
you need to make sure it's worth it.
that's true.
Just see what the value is.
So if that
Yeah.
payoff, if that residual value is 30 and the car's worth 20, you don't buy it. That's when you give it back.
Okay.
And
good
you're
point.
going to pay mileage penalty, but it's not going to be 10 grand.
What's the mileage penalty?
So if you go, let's say you lease the car for 10,000 miles per year and you drive 1,000 miles over
Yep. So 11,000.
for let's just, so it would be 3,000 over the term,
yeah.
right? It's depending on the manufacturer, whether it's Toyota, BMW, whatever, or Ferrari or whatever. The amount that they charge you per mile over the lease amount, I think Toyota's 15 cents, so $150 per 1,000.
Okay.
So it's cheaper to lease it and pay the overage if you're going to be close.
Yeah.
If you're going to be
Super
far
crazy.
over, then you do it up front. It's cheaper.
Okay.
So, there's certain banks though, like BMW, if you see you're going over, you can call them and buy your miles, buy more miles.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. Porsche and BMW allow you to do that, I believe.
Gotcha. I guess I have one more
I
question.
have a couple too. I have one more, just one
You
more.
have one more?
But you want to go first? I'll let you close it
Oh yeah, I'll close
you
it. So
close
you go for it.
because he's the host.
No,
I'm just a sidekick.
yeah.
So, what is the most exotic car, I guess, on your lot right now?
So we don't keep an inventory of cars. We buy trade-ins and stuff and resell them.
Got it.
Usually to wholesalers. We don't retail that much unless it's because what we don't want is 50 grand sitting there on the lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it could be elsewhere.
Yeah.
So someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I want whatever."
I don't look for used cars. Now I'll look for a used Ferrari. An exotic I can look for pre-owned.
Okay.
But I don't look for used cars.
Got
if
it.
I have it, see, buying a used car is timing. So like I might get a bitch in, like I had the other day, I posted on my Instagram a Lexus IS 350 from 2014 with only 25,000 or 26,000 miles. It's an older guy, lived in Santa Monica, was a movie writer, a TV writer, never left the house. When he did leave, he'd walk down, to
He's right there.
to Montana and
That's a great area.
So that's where he lived, kind of.
Nice.
So we bought the car from. He got another car, but we bought that from. So when I have that kind of car, we'll keep it and sell it because we're not laying out a ton of money. I think it was sold it for 19 grand or something. So but if I'm buying a BMW 7 Series off lease, I'm laying out a chunk, or I'm not laying out. My partners they're the money guys.
Yeah.
So and that's why I use them and I stick with them. They're my buddies. We get along really well, and we have my used car deal with them can't be beat. They lay out all the cash on the used cars, and I get a percentage whether I sell it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Now, if I sell it, I get more.
Okay.
But if I don't sell it, I still get money.
That's great.
Because you're finding it.
Well, it's a deal they want to have.
Yeah.
So that's how we look at it together. So
That's cool.
That's awesome.
yeah, so that's why I don't go out on my own and have a lot and have to pay the overhead and everything. And then I'm out there laying out cash to buy cars, and this is the best deal in the world.
Yeah,
And,
sounds like it.
And that's why I love them.
Well, that was my question. If you're done.
I'm done, bud.
Are you done? Okay, all right.
You go ahead.
My question was, how could people find you, and how do you operate? And like you just mentioned your Instagram.
That's
do you have a
where you wanna hit
website?
me.
Do you
We
have?
don't. I'm Rinky Dink Inc.
Rinky Dink Inc.
I'm old school.
Okay.
I barely have in my Instagram.
Okay.
And
But you just talked about this Lexus you posted on your on your
it's on my Instagram. Yeah.
And then you posted on your Instagram, and they just DM you, or
They'll DM me, and if they want to talk, they'll
Okay.
DM me or and I'll call them.
Okay, cool. And then what's your handle?
It's Ray the Car Guy _ between all the words. So Ray _ the _ car _ guy.
All right, cool.
Nice.
And that's where they can find you. That's the best place to do.
Yeah, I mean, other than I'm attached to this company, Alan Graham,
Sure.
but I am detached. I don't even have a phone there.
Okay.
So, like, if you called there and you would say for so and so push 1, and there's no one for
There's
me.
no Ray the Car Guy.
I don't know. I don't know why it ever happened. It hasn't. It's been 25 years, and they haven't gotten them. They haven't done it. So, I use my cell only, but you can hit me up from Instagram. You can hit me up on Facebook.
Okay.
Is my
Oh, you're on Facebook too?
Yeah, just with my regular name, Ray Shargel.
Okay.
And
Cool.
And yeah, I mean,
Do you go outside of LA? Like if people are watching outside?
yeah, we delivered, San Diego to Northern Cal.
So mostly California, right?
Arizona, Vegas.
Oh, okay. Vegas,
But
Arizona.
it's gotta be bought here and shipped there.
Gotcha.
So because we've done deals with stores out of state and ended up never getting paid, because they have different rules.
Oh, okay.
But brokering is a big deal in California. There's millions of us. Everybody does it, and we are like a concierge service. Just like my detail business. I said, real professional, real service oriented.
Okay.
Like it's all about the service. There might be better detailers out there, but when I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. When I tell you I'm going to do something, I do it. And I feel like that's the most important thing in life anyways, is when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
And you do it on time.
Yeah.
And you do it professionally. You clean up after yourself, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well said.
So I took that service and I brought it to the brokering business.
Yeah.
And we save you time, money, and aggravation. And the key word there is aggravation. People come to us because they don't want to go to the dealership. And you don't have to. If you know what you want.
Do you deliver these cars? You deliver the car on
them
flatbed?
right to your front door.
Right.
Home, office, the nearest Denny's.
You don't have to go into the dealership and wait and
You don't have to
all
do
day.
anything. You sign the documents on your kitchen table.
Perfect.
You know, people, we're in business because people don't like to go to dealerships.
Yeah.
Now, if you need to go to a dealership to look at a car or test drive a car, if I can help you, I will. I will send you to one of my guys. You will not be hounded for the next month to buy a car. If you walk into a dealer in the front door, they get your driver's license, they get your information, and they call you until you buy a car.
Right. That's their job. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's how they make their living.
So you can go look at a car at like whatever a dealership that you're recommending.
Well, if you go to my guy, let's say you want to buy a, let's say a Lexus. You go to, and we're out here in Burbank, so you go to Lexus of Glendale. My gal will set up an appointment with you for her assistant or somebody to show you the car. You'll drive it. You'll leave. You won't talk numbers. You won't even talk to her. They leave. The dealer will call me, or customer will call me, and we'll, if they like it, done. If not, we'll
Damn, I'm buying a car through you next time.
Yeah, we make it look. You call me. This is how it works.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it works. The system. You call me. You tell me what you want. You got to know what you want. That's key. If you think you want one or another car, 2 cars, I'm okay with that. I'll look at both for you. All right. But if you want 5, go narrow it down to 1 or 2.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll give you an ideas. Like you say, I'm looking at an Audi Q5 or BMW X3 or Hyundai Sonata or whatever. I'll tell you, well, this car is going to be about this much. This car is going to be about that much. I'll give you those ideas.
Gotcha.
And then I'll say that car's a piece of junk. I would buy this one before I bought that one. I'll help you choose.
Right.
With my experience, it's an opinion, but it's
well, it's a professional opinion because this is what you do.
Right. So, anyways, you tell me what you want. I'll go find what I call it. I tell my customers what's your dream car? What are you looking at? Send me, go to a dealer and find the car you want with the color and everything. Take a picture of the window sticker. Right. Send it to me. Go online, build the car, send it to me. I'll try to find you as close to your dream car as I can. Okay. If I can't find you what you want, we'll order it.
Gotcha.
On most manufacturers, but that's changed a lot since the pandemic too. Ordering, they can't order a car if they don't have an allocation. Some of these manufacturers, but certain ones you can just order. Doesn't matter. So I find the perfect car. Let's say I find the car you want, and I will email you or text you a copy of the window sticker or the build sheet describing exactly what the car has.
Yep.
Right? Then we find out how you're going to pay for it. You're going to buy cash, you're going to finance it, you're going to lease it. What are you going to do?
Yep.
Once we decide on that, I get numbers, give you the numbers. I'll even look at a purchase versus a lease, depending what you want to do.
Yep.
We decide how you're going to pay for it. I email and we agree on the numbers.
Yep.
And I email you a credit app. You email it back. Car's in your driveway the next day.
There you go. Bingo, bango.
Signed your documents on your kitchen table while you're having a glass of wine or drinking a beer. It's no pressure. I'll have and these days it's not me anymore because the dealers have all these rules, but they will send a delivery guy. The guy will sit with you, hook up your phone, your garage door openers, teach you how to use the car, all of that. I'll be driving down the road. I'll see somebody with a 2025 or 24 Prius holding their phone to their ear.
They didn't know how to set it up.
Because nobody set it up for them. They bought it at a dealer and they just let them leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we are a concierge service.
It's probably more common than you expect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It sounds like a no-brainer, right? If it's a $50,000...
So everybody says to me, right? What everybody says to me is that, why would I use you? You're a middleman. It's going to cost me more.
Correct. Yeah. I was just about to ask that question.
I know you were.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong. I do 50, or I don't, but we do 50-something cars a month.
Wow.
So you instantly, Ray calls, you're gonna get the deal way better than anybody.
The guys we deal with work on volume. They make $100, $200 a car. They don't make a lot of money.
Right.
So
they're moving volume.
We're working with the fleet departments, the wholesale departments.
So why not use Ray the car guy?
Right.
There you go.
Done.
There you go. Well, hey man, this has been great. Like you're what we hope for more. We hope more people write in and call us out, and we're able to bring them on as a professional, as an expert, because this just gave us all kinds of credibility, I hope.
It really lets people behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to go. We all have to buy cars.
Right.
Or lease them. Right. Excuse me.
Whatever.
I know, but that's...
I do both.
But, like, just to be able to go behind the scenes and just understand that, why would you want to go even to the dealership and deal with the back and forth on the paper? You know, here's the deal, and it goes back and forth. And like, just go to you and say, this is my budget. This is what I want. I want a Tundra. I want it 4-wheel drive. I only need an SR5. I don't need the whatever. And here you go.
Right.
And then that's...
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, I'm not a salesman.
Yeah.
I'm offering a service. My background is service. I was a server in college. I worked at TGI Fridays. I was a waiter. Mm-hmm. I, detailed cars for 38 years. That's 100% service. Mm-hmm. And I brought that professionalism and concierge service to the brokering business. Mm-hmm. And I offer my clients that same high quality service. Because the people I detailed cars for wouldn't tolerate a non-concierge service.
Right.
Some of the biggest names in Hollywood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to my buddy, rest in peace, Scott Metcalf. He hooked me up. So.
Well, I sincerely thank you for being here and
I'm glad to be here.
Sharing all the information.
I love talking about this stuff, obviously.
I love it. Well, we'll bring you back. Don't worry.
Passionate about cars. I love cars. So I know you got some cool ones, or had some cool ones. I don't know what you.
They come and go.
Yeah, right.
They come and go. Right. They come and go, and I can always use more.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ray, thanks a lot. Ray the Car Guy. Hit him up on Instagram if you have any want to buy a car and get a better deal.
Lease a car.
Lease a car. Buy a car. Get a car detailed if you've got that kind of money.
I'm not detailed.
Let Ray tell you no. Well, thanks again. And that's it for this.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And that's a wrap.